are tonight, guys, Totally Detailed with Adam, my co-host, and myself, Richard. And we are going to be talking to Dave Reed from D.A.R Detailing, the entrepreneurial Dave Reed from down in the West Country. Good evening, Dave. How are you doing?
Hello. Hello. I'm very well, thank you, guys. Good.
Excellent.
Thank you for coming on, Dave. Oh, so your company, as Richard just said there, is D.A.R Detailing. Do you want to explain what the D.A.R is?
Yeah, it's not very imaginative, I'm afraid. It is literally my initials. So I read something from, I think it was the UK Detailing Academy a few weeks back about naming your business, and one of the things was avoid initials because it doesn't mean anything to clients or customers. But it's got a bit of a family connection. I come from quite a small family. I'm an only child, and my dad's been in business for about 50 odd years now. He's just sort of retired, and we've always called each other in the family, like myself, my dad, my aunt, by our initials. So okay. My dad's initials are AMR. So he's known in the family as AMR. I'm known as DAR. My aunt is known as CMR. So it sort of stuck in about 1990. I set up on the side a little carpet cleaning business, and I called it DAR Cleaning, and I reversed the R because I fancied being a little bit different, and it stuck. So when I went professional and I set the company up, I called it DAR Detailing. Some people call it D.A.R Detailing, but I call it DAR Detailing. And what I like about the fact that I've reversed the R on DAR is when I do a reflection shot, if I've got any signage in the unit or any of the logos on the van, it looks like rad. It's just something that's stuck, and I quite like it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I like the idea of the initials, to be fair. There's nothing wrong with having initials. It's quite unique. And obviously people, if they know the story behind it, they obviously know that it stands for you, and the branding is perfect. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, choosing initials, I don't see any problem with it. Brilliant idea. Good idea. It says it's you, and that's it. Brilliant.
So if you was to change it, what would you change it to? You got any ideas for that?
I was thinking about this just earlier on today, and I probably wouldn't change it, Adam, to be fair. There's so much that would need to change in the business if I was to change the branding. It's the sign writing on the van, it's the signage outside the unit, the signage inside the unit, stationery, business cards, website, social media. It's massive to change the branding. I think, Richard, you're going through your second lot of rebranding,
yep.
and the scale of that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm quite happy with it being my initials. My reputation as a business has been built up based on the business name and what I can offer our clients. So I'm quite happy to keep it as it is.
That's fantastic. The reason I asked was it's a thought that I keep having, because I've lost the person who was that. It's just me now. So I have a few little ideas in my mind, but that is the one problem that keeps holding me back, is just the thought of reprinting everything, rebuying website names and so on. It's not a 2-minute fix, and then you're going to lose that. And especially if you've had this is your second company with the D.A.R.
Yes, yeah.
So has anyone ever put the two and two together then with the carpet cleaning?
Well, to be fair, when you say it's the second company, I mean, it was just a little weekend job or an evening job I did probably about 30 years ago. So it wasn't an established company in the sense that we're running now. It was just a bit of cash from the side when I was late teenager, early 20s, something like that. But the DAR bit stuck, and it's even now, if my dad sends me an email or a message, it'll be like, "Hey, D.A.R."
Hey, it sticks, doesn't it? So I mean, it works.
By my name.
So
got more acronyms in the army.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's good when the name sticks and people remember it. So I mean, I think it's good. I mean, it's like Dave said, we're going through our second. You know, we've always been known as Leather Repair Company, but we are Restorers Limited, trading as LRC, and we decided to try to make it unique because everybody uses the term Leather Repair Company, and Coins sort of almost piggybacks on what we do with LRC, but we've now decided to go back and say, you know what, stuff it, we are LRC, and that's what we're going to do, and we've just modernised our logo. And like you say, it is a massive change. It's literally, we are just going through, it's nearly 60,000 quid it's costing us to do it. But it's bringing us to today, it's making us modern, and the beauty of the way we've done the logo with the Lewis, our design guys have done it, it enables us to bring the company forward massively, and that logo can blossom, which you're going to see very, very shortly with something we're going to release. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Sounds awesome.
Should be good. So, what we got here? First detailing memory. What's your first detailing memory? Is it a specific car or something that made you get into it?
This could be a bit embarrassing, actually.
Go for it.
So,
actually good, I think.
Yeah. So, my first detailing memory was in 1989. So I would have been 20 years old. I was in a very fortunate position where I was able to buy my first ever new car, brand new car, obviously on finance. And it was a Vauxhall Belmont Tiffany. It was I never when I used to see my mates, I used to go, "Oh, how's Tiffany?" But it was this special edition. It came with 16-inch alloy wheels as standard, which was the bee's knees back then.
I thought you were going to say 16-inch something else then, with it being Tiffany, but
that's for the next. That's
the next video, is it? Well, he's Lauren tonight, so yes, next video.
Yeah, Adam, call me Lauren.
Hey.
So so it was basically brand new car, 1989. I think it was a G registration back then, and it was a fairly dark metallic blue. It had been prepped, PDI'd by the dealer. It had been through, the what we now know as very harsh PDI processes with a dealer wash and a dealer prep. The car looked amazing when I picked it up, but after a week or so, got it home, sun came out, and boom, it was looking dull and lifeless. So my first detailing memory was basically hand polishing that with, I think I used SRP back then. Didn't have or know how to use a machine polisher back in 1989. So hand polished it like mad, ended up looking like Popeye, try and get some gloss back. That was really my first detailing memory, trying to make Tiffany shine.
Would that have been single stage paint then?
No, it had no. Well, I'm not that old. It had a clear coat. No, it had a clear coat.
Yeah, they were phasing it all. It was all like water-based paints were coming in those days. Then back in the late 80s, so they were all coming in, and all your standard cellulose was all sort of like fading out, and it was the invention of 2-pack, wasn't it? So it was all the cyanide paints, and all these painters were dying because they weren't wearing respirators in the spray booths, and of course they were all popping off and dying quite quickly because they all had bloody 2-pack paint they were spraying. So it had pure cyanide in it.
And nasty stuff.
So it's nasty stuff, all right.
How long have you been in the business then, Dave?
I'm actually a bit of a newcomer to the business. I've only been in the industry for 6 years, or this is our 6th year now, as a professional detailer. I guess I've been involved in car care for about 30 years or so. You know, usual story, as we hear in the industry from, you know, friends and colleagues. Started as a bit of a hobby, looking after my own car, and then my mate's car, and then my mate's cars, and I turned pro just over 6 years ago. I used to work for British Airways. I was in the corporate world for about 30 years and was a weekend / summer evening warrior, if you like. Before that, it was a hobby, and I decided to get out of the world of corporate BS with targets, measures, objectives that you were set up to fail on, and go and work for myself and do something that I love.
Fantastic.
And rub some more Tiffany's.
You surprised me a little bit though, because first you said you're quite new to the industry, and then you said 6 years. Actually, this sort of industry, as new now, is kind of 6 months.
Yeah, definitely.
That many people popping up, and the amount of companies that can last. I mean, I can't remember the exact figures on percentages of like 2 years. Is phenomenally low. The amount of companies that pull through, and then like 5 years is kind of like that real big stepping stone. You kind of cracked it at that. So 6 years, it's a really phenomenal thing to pull off. And I don't think by any means it's a newcomer.
No, definitely not.
No,
definitely not a newcomer. I mean, 5 years is sort of like your real big major testing ground, isn't it, for any company? If you can get past 5 years, then you know you've sort of made it and you're going to survive, sort of thing. Most people sort of fail in their first 5 years. It's sort of quite well known. But I mean, getting past those 5 years, you know, I think 6 years is, you know, certainly not a new thing. I mean, yes, time flies by very, very quickly. I don't know whether that's just because Dave and I are getting older. We're about the same age, and it seems to go by a lot quicker. But it certainly doesn't. But it's, you know, 6 years is by no means you know, new to the industry, in my opinion. I mean, that's good when you consider a lot of the people that have just literally left school and got driving licenses, and they're set up as detailers, and you know, and they're classed as professionals.
Yeah, I think I consider myself a bit of a newcomer, if you like, to the industry, because I know that there are, you know, many other detailers out there that we all know that have been in the industry for many years and are at the top of their game. And you know, I've only just really in the last 6 months, 5-6 months, got my business to where I want, where I planned for it to get to. So it's taken me 6 years to build it to where it's at now. It's taken me 6 years to get my unit and the equipment in it that I want to be able to make my life easier, safer, and offer a great service to my clients. So I feel as though I've only just achieved, you know, getting to the point where I'm happy with the way in which the business is set up and structured and operating, and that's sort of part of the beginning.
So you're saying you've reached your goal. Did you have a set time for that goal originally? Did you say, in 3 years I want to be where you are now? Or is it just that you had a target and you're just going to work towards that?
I did have a goal. It changed quite radically. It changed, took a sort of 90-degree turn. So I used to operate in Berkshire, down in the southeast, sort of just west of Heathrow, and I moved to Cornwall in 2017. I sold up in Berkshire, bought a place in Cornwall, and that was part of a lifestyle change, really. And I bought a place down here in Cornwall that's got a double garage set on a level above the house. And my original plan was to work from home and turn that double garage into a detailing studio. That didn't come off, and it's still a double garage. And the reason for that was twofold. Firstly, I did work from home for the first probably year that I moved down to Cornwall, and I literally moved with the business. I handed all my regular clients out to other detailers that I knew back up country in Berkshire, and started afresh in a new location. And two things happened. Firstly, every day is a school day in this industry. You're learning all the time. And one of the things that I learned was that if I was to gut my garage and turn it into a detailing studio, I hadn't factored in, schoolboy error, what was I going to do with all the stuff in my man cave?
Yeah.
Like a lot of us in this industry, I love my cars. I've got a car that's my pride and joy. That stays in the garage, comes out on nice sunny days for pleasure driving. And I thought, I need to put that somewhere. Where do I put my tools? Where do I put the lawnmower? I've got a chest freezer in the garage. Where do I put that? So to literally turn the garage into a detailing studio and work from home was going to be a bit more of a challenge, because I needed to build something or find somewhere to put all the stuff in the man cave. The second thing that happened was I got a little bit frustrated with potential customers turning up at my home without an appointment, unannounced, asking for quotes. Obviously, pre-COVID, we had the luxury of some friends over and some family in the back garden, barbecue on a Saturday evening, and a customer, because I've got a set of steps down from the garage into the front of the house, came down the steps, round the back, and asked me to quote on a wedding prep on a Mercedes on a Saturday night at 8:30. And I thought, no, it's time to, as much as I enjoyed working from home, and I was also mobile as well as working from home, I thought it's time to separate work and home. I moved down to Cornwall as part of a lifestyle change. I wanted to start to unwind a little bit, having come out of this world of corporate madness. And I thought, no, I'm gonna go and get a unit somewhere and separate home and work life. And I come home, and that's what I did. So that worked really well until I got involved in the IDA, when most evenings I'm doing some IDA business now from home.
Hey.
But it's different, because I can shut the front door and customers can't bother me.
Just two things I want to touch on what you just said there. Three. One of them is the idea, but we're going to come to that in a minute. Moving a business, that must have been worse than rebranding.
Massively.
Yeah, that blows my mind to be able to do that. I mean, you're more or less starting a business again, surely.
You started from scratch, yeah?
Yeah, I did. I had the odd customer that I looked after on a maintenance basis come down to Cornwall, but really coincided their maintenance with a little bit of a weekend away. But I had no customers. So when I first started up again in Cornwall, I'd wait for the phone to ring. I would take any job that I could get. In fact, my first job when I moved to Cornwall, because Cornwall is a big place, to go from one end of Cornwall to the other. I'm southeast Cornwall, so I'm actually only just over the Tamar Bridge, sort of about half an hour from Plymouth. But to go way down west into Cornwall, it's a long county. My first job, because I just, I got the call, I quoted on the job, and I took it because it was work. My first job was a headlight refurb for £60, where I drove an hour and 10 minutes each way.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
But I didn't know, and I've never seen that client again. They were happy with the headlight refurb. I've never seen them again. I've never heard from them again. But I didn't know where that could lead. it may have led to something else, something bigger. They may know somebody else who needs a car polishing or ceramic coating. So, I just took the work. And it took some time to build the business.
Yeah, it does take time, especially when you move. It takes a lot of time. I mean, it's like I moved from Wokingham, Reading, Winnersh, in 1988 all the way to Hull. So it is a massive move. So you move, shut a business, move there, you know nobody, and you've got to start all over again. It's a huge mammoth task. And it's like, anybody that does it, it is like congratulations, because, I mean, you've done it, survived and pulled through and, got the business back to where it is today and it's flourishing again. And, you've got that goal, haven't you, that you've achieved, that you want, that you've just said about, getting the unit and stuff. And it's brilliant to see this success. It's absolutely brilliant.
It was a bit nerve-wracking along the way. The work ebbed and flowed a bit. There wasn't a great deal of competition in the area when I first started up again down here. There's a few pop-ups that have cropped up sort of post as we start to come out of COVID. People that are maybe on furlough or a bit of a summer pop-up. Come November when the weather gets cold, they're soon pack it in again.
Yeah.
But it has taken some time to build up the business reputation and branding in the area, but it's all part of the challenge. And I wanted to move to Cornwall. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but I gave it my best shot, and we've touch wood, we've pulled through the other side.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, the other thing that you mentioned as well is you moved from your home because you wanted to kind of shut the doors and go home for the night. Is that the phone's off sort of thing? Are you messaging customers still?
Yeah, no, it's just the in-person customer interface that stops. I'm still, the evenings. I think, like a lot of us in this business, we're working all day. In the evenings is time to catch up on emails, with requests for quotes, messages, text, social media, and often, as I said earlier, I'm involved in some sort of detailing or industry related meeting or conversation most evenings. If it's not a piece of ideation, something else to do with detail. Last night I had a clear night, and Malcolm from Aqua Spray popped up on my Instagram as a live video, and I've got a couple of Cransels that I run, one at the unit and one in the van, and I need to get them serviced. So I thought I'll jump on that. Ended up doing a video chat with Aqua Spray. Totally impromptu. Other most evenings, the phones, especially when you work for yourself, the phone pretty much doesn't. Well, I can't remember the last time I turned my phone off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it never stops.
Do you have a cut-off point though, Dave? Do you say 8 o'clock? That's it. I'm not going to reply to customers tonight. They can wait till tomorrow, or do you just reply whenever?
No, I do. I do try to discipline myself. If it's a regular customer, I mean, I've got one client. He's got a frozen grey BMW 8 Series, which I coated from new car protection. I look after that on a regular basis. He's a very busy guy in his own business, and he tends to message me in the evening. And for regulars like that, I will break my own rules, if you like, and I'll ping him a text back at 9 o'clock or 20 past 9 or whatever it might be. But for general routine inquiries that come through the website or social media asking for quotes, I put a cut-off at 8 o'clock. And then I roll it over to the next day, because one of the things that I've picked up or paid some attention to over the last few months, which I think was an article that was originally run in the magazine from PVD, was around sort of well-being and mental health. We work on our own a lot of the time in this industry. and we need to be cognizant of some of the mental health issues and some of the stresses that are out there with working on your own, and getting that work-home life balance, I think, is part of getting that right. So I do try to have a bit of a cut-off if I can.
Yeah, I think it's needed sometimes. But then at the same time, it can be hard to think you kind of let the customer down, or customer could end up going elsewhere. It's something I need to work on. I know that's definitely.
Yeah, I think that side of it will come with experience. Like Dave sort of got it and mastered it, and it's trying to get that level of experience. It's like I say, it does have a huge toll because you are working on your own, and it's that stress, and it's especially those guys that are one-man bands. I mean, like you've got everything on you. Your phone's ringing, your messages are going, your texts are going, your WhatsApp's going, your emails going, and the customer's there. You're trying to get the car done, and it's like, what the hell do I do first? And it does sort of get to the point where it does have an effect on your mental health because it wants to literally blow your brain because it's like, I cannot cope with all this. And it's trying to draw that balance. And sometimes you need that downtime, especially people that got young kids or they're newly married. They need that downtime to sort of attend to that relationship, whether it's with the child or it's an ill family member. I mean, you do need that downtime, and it's just learning to sort of say, that's the limit. Now it's tomorrow. And it will come with experience. I mean, you will get there with that one, Adam, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's probably more of a self-discipline than anything.
Yes, yeah, it is more of a self-discipline. It's like with anything, isn't it? It's like, we were saying on the podcast we did for the social media side of things, it's a bit like, having that discipline. It's discipline to give up smoking or to cut down on drinking. You've got to be quite strong-willed to do that, and you've got to have that discipline, haven't you, to sort of commit to that and say, right, that's the limit of what I'm going to do. It's 8 o'clock at night, and I'll deal with all the customers tomorrow morning, and that's it.
Saying that you mentioned you had a van as well, Dave. Do you do mobile work?
I only really do mobile work in two scenarios. Firstly, for maintenance. So I do get clients that I've sort of polished and coated cars, bring their car back to me at the unit for maintenance, but I use the van and the mobile facility just really for maintenance for existing clients, or if I get an inquiry from somebody in the community. There's the age demographic in Cornwall. It's changing in that there's a lot more younger people moving to Cornwall now, and particularly with COVID and a lot of people working from home, they've realised that through online media platforms they can work from home instead of going to the office. So people are moving to Cornwall with a younger generation, but the age demographic is a little bit older than other parts of the country. So if somebody needs their car doing that, is not that mobile or can't get out that often, or whatever it might be, I'll jump in the van and book them in for a mobile appointment. But I'd say about 75 to 80% of my work is at the unit.
Worried about missing out on potential customers coming.
I was having this conversation with my partner. So my body, the front was a car wash today, and I'm closed. And my partner was saying, I wonder how many people turn up at your unit on a Saturday and you're closed. I've got a sign on the door that says, if we're shut, we're very sorry that we've missed you. We're either out of hours or, we're closed for the evening, or we're out in the community servicing our clients on a mobile basis. Here's our number, here's our website address, here's our email. And my partner was saying just Saturday, I wonder how many people turn up on the off chance. On Saturday, I bought myself a new toolbox last week. Well, not a new one, second-hand one. But I've always wanted a snap-on toolbox. So I bought a snap-on tool chest. And Saturday morning, I sorted out all my old tools I mean, in reality, it's the world's classiest looking, most expensive valeting cabinet because I've got very few tools. But I took a few tools from home down to the unit. Just after I had this conversation with my partner, and she said, I wonder how many people will turn up on a Saturday morning. And as I was en route to the unit, I had a call. And I answered it, and the guy said, I'm outside your unit. I've just turned up on the off chance. I just wanted to get a quote for some work on my car. And I said, well, we're shut at the weekends. However, I'm on my way. I'm going to be about 5 minutes. Are you okay to hang on? He said, yeah. And I thought, well, what went through my head, right, is this somebody that's turned up on the off chance on a Saturday morning, doesn't realise we're by appointment only, and they're hoping to get their, Ford KA washed or whatever. I turned up, and there was a Ferrari 488 sitting outside my unit, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. We were just having this conversation. How many customers do you miss because you're not open on Saturdays? But he got the number because it's on the sign outside.
So you kind of covered your back when you're not there, which is good. Yeah, absolutely. The way that I've been doing it.
But that's part of the work, the home work life for me, because my partner's Monday to Friday. She's in the HR world, and weekends is our time. So I do. Although I am doing a small leather repair this Saturday, just because it suits me and the client actually. But I haven't worked Saturdays since I've moved, or Sundays since I've moved to Cornwall.
No, brilliant. I mean, that's like the story you were just saying about the Ferrari, and then if you're going to be in this weekend, it's a good way of you seeing if you are having that footfall on the weekend and missing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm probably going to I'm going to organise once restrictions have eased up a bit more again, I'm going to organise a cars and coffee type Saturday morning meet up down at the unit and see what comes of it.
Yeah, we've been looking at doing something like that. It's just at the moment you don't really want to put any time into planning anything for it to be cancelled, do you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do you think
it'll all come?
Do you think it would change things, Dave, if you were there this Saturday and you suddenly saw half a dozen people turn up? Do you think it would change things for you to make you open on a Saturday?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
You don't have to think about that.
It would mean the diary gets busier, booked Monday to Friday, further into the future.
Hey, that's it. Definitely.
Saturdays and Sundays is family time.
Yeah, you need some time, don't you?
Just want to so we don't really want to talk about our business here, but recently we've changed over to working Saturdays instead of Mondays. The real case for it was childcare. And it shocked me how many people just turn up on a Saturday. And the nice thing is, we get so many phone calls on a Monday, so it's not affecting the work. So it's worked out well, but I do understand what you mean. I don't particularly want to work Saturday. Saturday's a weekend, and if you want to plan anything, it's going to affect that, isn't it? But it's just food for thought for you.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, though, are off, they're like, they're working Monday to Friday, and a lot of people are out enjoying themselves on a Saturday anyway. So, I mean, it's almost like, do you open Saturdays? Because these people are out enjoying themselves anyway. It's a bit of a devil in the deep blue sea, isn't it? Is it, or do you or don't you? And I think if you sort of draw the line and say, no, it's Monday to Friday from the beginning, then, you stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, you need to look at everybody's individual circumstances are different, aren't they? I mean, some people's other halves or family scenarios mean that the partner works shift work, or and they can work. Might take a Tuesday off and work on a Saturday, and
exactly.
Everyone's different, and you just need to balance what's right for for your home and work life, and
just finding that balance.
Got a different, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned the IDA already, Dave. I see you're wearing the patches tonight. How long have you been in the IDA?
Another newcomer, really. I've
6 years.
nowhere near. No, I've only been in the IDA. When did I join? About a year and a bit ago. So just probably only 13 or 14 months I've been in the IDA, and it was interesting. I'd shown some attention or paid some attention to the IDA previously, not the UK chapter or the UK and I chapter of the IDA, but the IDA internationally, US based, and never really gave it a second thought because I was, a member of the PVD group as well. And what happened was I did my PVD approved process in January 2020 and went up slightly from Cornwall, went up to a place in Devon called Columpton, and we did the David Knight at Night Detailing hosted one of the PVD approved events there, and I did my practical or two practicals and the theory, the exams, the PVD exams, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a bitter cold day, but when we got inside from the wet work and all that good practical stuff that we were doing outside and got in the warm and we sat the exams, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It really got the brain cogs turning. So I actually joined the IDA solely to take my certified detailer exams.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that.
Yeah, I didn't really know much about what the IDA was all about. I just thought, you know what, there's 10 exams here that I can buy for $400, or if I become a member of the IDA, they're $200. Well, I want to take my certified detailer exams because I love the PVD exams. And I signed up to the IDA because I then got my certified detailer exams at half price. So about 100, and I think at today's exchange rate, somebody asked me last night how much they are. I think at today's exchange rate, it works out about 142, 143 pounds for the 10 exams. And they range from, sort of 10 to about 18 or 20 questions in each exam. And I thoroughly enjoyed the PVD exam, so I joined the IDA to take my CD exams.
You're a strange one, Dave.
So, obviously, on that note, I can say on that note, Dave, sorry interrupting, now is a really good time then for people to join the IDA because the dollar's a little bit weaker than what it used to be. I mean, a year ago when I joined, the dollar was, I think, about $1.20 to the pound. So, I mean, I think we've been about the same length of membership as what you have. We're into our second year. So right now then, obviously, it's obviously quite favourable for people to get on board and join the IDA because of the exchange rate, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and particularly, we've got a very active and growing chapter here in the UK and Ireland. Craig has done, Craig, who was on your podcast a couple of episodes ago.
Sure.
Detailing Detect is our president for the UK and I chapter, and Andrew is our vice president. They've done a fantastic job in promoting the UK chapter for the IDA, and the growth has been exceptional. I did some figures the other night for the certification committee, and the UK and I membership for the IDA from April 2020 to April 2021, so we've taken a year, the membership has increased by 43%.
That's really good. That's good. That's phenomenal. That's achievement.
What's even more interesting, guys, is those members that have then decided to take their certified detailer exams in that same period of 1 year, April 20 to April 21, has increased by 70%.
Wow.
70.
Wow, that's good. That's really good.
And I thought, well, these are really strong figures. So let's just take those figures over the last 3 months to see, what sort of trends are happening. Have we peaked and is it tailing off? And just in the last 3 months, the membership has increased by 18%, 1/8, and the certified detailers that have taken and passed their exams has increased by 17%. So it's still increasing.
Yeah, that's good. I think it will do. The more it gets known, I think it's going to increase even further, to be fair. The more that the IDA gets known in the UK with the IDA, with the sort of chapter here, it's just going to grow, isn't it? And it's because people are going to get more and more aware of what it stands for as the industry sort of tries to sort of form this sort of level with the IDA of sort of standardising the industry, whether it's with pricing or the terminologies and what details entail. It's going to be that those guys want to be involved with this because it's going to be a force to be reckoned with at the end of the day. It's going to become a recognised thing that the public are going to know about it, and they're going to be like, I want these people because these are professional guys that's doing this car. And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about trying to develop some industry standards.
Exactly.
So that, existing clients, customers, and potential clients know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah. And I think that sort of comes back to the sort of guys that are coming into it that, like Adam was saying at the beginning, that last a few months and go. It sort of like confuses the whole industry as to what a standardized detail is or what a standard paint correction is. And there's all these sort of things. It's like, oh, I'm going to do a 3-stage paint correction on your car and it's £100. Really? And this is where the industry gets a bad name. It's like any industry, isn't it? You're going to get good and bad with everything, but that's where the confusion comes in because it's giving misleading information to the public. And this is impossible to do a 3-stage correction for £100. We all know that, and it's just absolutely impossible.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, you couldn't even make money doing the chemical and mechanical decontamination before you get the polisher out.
Exactly. No, I mean, it's like people bring cars to us to do, and I mean, they say to us, what time do you need it? I'm like, well, can you bring it to me for 7 o'clock? And they're like, in the morning? I'm like, yeah, I need it for 7 o'clock in the morning because by about 3 o'clock I'll have finished washing it. How many times are you washing it? And I'm like, no, this is just for the once. And they're like, what the hell are you doing to the car? Well, we're professionals. We're doing it the right way. And that's the way we do things. I'll be spending like maybe several hours just doing the wheels alone. And they're like, really? I'm like, well, they've got to come off. It's all got to be done right. You can't just wash a wheel in situ. You've got to do this right. It takes a long time. And they don't realise. They're just like, oh, well, I take it to the car wash and it's 5 minutes. And that's why you brought it to me, because it's scratched. And that's the problem with it. It's having that standardisation so that people know how long these things take. And I think there's room there for improvement, with the idea as well to sort of get all these standardised things out there and publicised to make the public aware of what these standard things are, to make this sort of, excuse the saying again, the standardisation across the industry for everybody so people know why they're joining and why the public want to get involved with those people that are members. And it just makes it more valuable, doesn't it, to those that are joining? Yeah,
exactly. And it's about, whether it's other valeters or detailers in the industry or customers, often it's just about, without doing it in a sort of patronising way, it's about educating people, helping people understand what the processes are to achieve a certain level of finish or result.
Exactly, yeah.
I had a potential client call me about 10 days or so ago now and said, I had somebody come round to valet my car and they've damaged it. And I said, right, what's happened? And the guy said, I've given this guy a chance. I've never used him before. He's just started up as a mobile valeter. So a pop-up, and he's removed tar with a green kitchen scourer.
Oh, my God. Ouch.
And and damage the car. So what I want to know is, can you polish them out? And I said, oh, you know, that's like, how long's a piece of string? Well, I ideally need to see it, you know, preferably in person. But is there a way you can send me? This guy was actually just over into Devon in Plymouth, and I said, is there a way that you can send me, you know, a video or some photographs? Is it cut through? You know, does it need paint, or is it on the surface? Is it superficial? And, you know, you go through these questions. Anyway, cut a long story short, I said to him, have you spoken to the guy about claiming off his insurance? And he said that the guy's not taking my calls now, and he's blocked me. And I think he's probably panicking, and I don't think he's got insurance. Anyway, I found out through putting the word out in the industry who this guy is. He's a young lad. He's trying to make a start in life as a valeter. He hasn't got a great deal of experience. He hasn't had any training. He hasn't got any insurance. And I've reached out to him, and I've made contact with him. And this is part of, you know, Adam, you were saying this on one of the other podcasts here. This is the beauty of the IDA. You know, there's no backbiting or silly questions or ridiculing. You know, this IDA family, if you like, you know, we genuinely try to support and help and develop each other. So I rang this guy and said, you know, you can remove tar chemically very safely, and here's some tips and tricks and ideas and some recommendations on products to do that. And did you know you really need to think about some insurance? Anyway, we've started a conversation, and I'm going to help develop this young lad, because, you know, the other option is he's going to go to the wall and he's potentially going to be unemployed. He could be the next greatest detailer in this country. Who knows?
Yeah, could easily be. And
educating and helping people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what is good about the IDA. There is no, you know, belittling. It's helping, and that's what it's about. And, you know, and that again is a fantastic story, you know, and that is just brilliant. It's just seeing what you've done there, and you could have easily, like you say, gone along, slagged the guy off. It's not in your nature, but you've helped him, and he could be the next big thing, you know, and that's brilliant. And that's what it's all about with the IDA.
Rising the industry, you know.
Yes.
Bringing us standard and picking everyone up to that level.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Spot
absolutely. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Just want to wrap things up, because we're getting on to that kind of like golden hour mark. One thing we really wanted to end on was, what is the next step for D.A.R Detailing? Sorry, D.A.R Detailing.
Well, the next step for me personally, I mean, I am D.A.R Detailing. I'm a sole trader. So the next step for me personally is I really would love to take my IDA skills validated exams. Anybody listening that's an IDA member or thinking about becoming an IDA member, there is an event for skills validation in the UK being planned, so watch this space. The next big step for D.A.R Detailing as a business, you know, when I moved to Cornwall, I did one of these, personally, I did one of these 5-year plans. You know, I'm 51 now. I want to start thinking about taking it easy and enjoying a bit more of the beautiful beaches around here in Cornwall when I'm about 55, 56. So there's no big growth plans for D.A.R Detailing. I'm not looking to move into a bigger unit. I'm not looking to employ anybody. I love working for myself as a sole trader. If I do a great job, it's down to me. If I mess up, it's down to me to put it right. And I like that. So there's no big growth plans for the business in the next 4 to 5 years. I want to start taking it a little bit easier. But the next step, the immediate next step, is I want to smash my SV for the IDA and get my skills validation.
Yeah, excellent. On that note, Dave, there with the skills validation, where do people go to find this information out? So this event that is coming up, where do they actually go? Is it on the IDA website, or is there a page on social media?
So this event isn't published yet because it's still in the planning.
Sure.
Obviously, with COVID restrictions, because the skills. So your certified detailer exams you can do, in the unit, in your van, on your mobile phone, at home, online through the IDA website.
Yeah.
www.the-ida.com.
Excellent. Cool.
The skills validated element is an in-person, practical and theory assessment. So, we need to be mindful of restrictions.
Absolutely,
and we're waiting for those people. So there is an event here in the UK being planned for a skills validation, and that will be published on the IDA website. And I just mentioned d-ida.com, and also on the UK and I Facebook and Instagram pages for the IDA.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so I mean, hopefully a lot of people will, obviously restrictions permitting, and whatever the guidelines are going to be for that. Hopefully, there's going to be a lot of people taking that up. Because I mean, I think it's going to be something good for the future for a lot of people, and it's going to just grow. I think with the IDA.
I agree. Yeah.
I keep saying it, but for me right now, there's no better time for the IDA than right now. It's not the IDA I joined nearly 3 years ago. It's changed dramatically. And if you're thinking about being a part of it, it is now the time.
Yeah, it's certainly time to get into it now, isn't it?
And it was Craig that said, our new UK president, that what somebody messaged into the IDA Facebook page and said, "What do I get out of the IDA? What do I get for my membership?" And Craig said, amongst other things, you get out what you put in. And that's why I volunteered for the certification committee. I sit on the cert committee with Alan from AM Details and Mark Leddy from Polished and Waxed. And I get out as much as I put in. And I wouldn't be here tonight with you two guys had it have not been for the IDA. In fact, our first conversation, Adam, was about you got your scissor lift, and it was the same model as mine, and I was pinging videos over to you about this is how I set it up, and trying to give you tips and hints on the setup of your scissor lift, and that was all through the IDA. It's phenomenal the way it networks.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time out to send that video, because if only the manufacturer puts it together like that, we wouldn't have had a problem.
Oh, there is that, yeah.
And that's the IDA all over, isn't it? That's why all three of us are here tonight. I mean, we're all members, and we're here doing this podcast, for obviously totally detailed, but it's, we're talking about the IDA and its benefits and what it has for all of us as detailers as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So just wrapping things up, Dave, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, what is the best way?
Oh, there's so many ways, isn't there now? As Richard said earlier, you can message me on Facebook, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on Google Messages, and but the best way is my website is www.D.A.R Detailing.com. Email is info@D.A.R Detailing.com. Or you can, and my phone number, mobile numbers on the website. So just ping me a message or an email.
Fantastic.
Cool. That's excellent. And obviously, go on, Adam. Sorry.
I was going to say, if anyone wants to get in touch with the Totally Detailed page, if you look up on Facebook, we now have a page on there, so you can message in. If you do have any questions, if you need any help, or if you do want to come on the podcast, drop us a message on there and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I mean, anybody that does want to do it, like Adam says, come on board. We've got a website that's coming. There's going to be all sorts of fun things hopefully going on the website, and helpful portals of information and stuff. So I mean, it's something that we're working on, is to get the Totally Detailed website up and running. There is one there at the moment, but it's just a basic thing. There's nothing on it at the moment, but there is a website there. It's live just to help with search engine recognition. So I mean, we are working on getting that website done for Totally Detailed. So it's been a fantastic podcast again tonight with Dave from D.A.R Detailing. I nearly said R.A.D., nearly got it the wrong way around, doing your mirror effect there, Dave, with your vans. And Adam from A.R Detailing. It's getting confusing now, isn't it? D.A.R and A.R Detailing. So, it's been a great interview. So thank you very much, Dave, for coming along. And thank you for my co-host, Adam, in Hull. And I'm out here on the coast getting blown away. Fortunately, not sat on the cliff top, but in my house. So thanks, guys. And hopefully we'll catch up with you all very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, guys.
No problem at all. Thank you.